Hey, do you see me over there? Where are you?
Hey, buddy. Good to see you. I thought I was going to be early. Can I say do I know you?
I'm Taylor.
Oh, you're Taylor. Yeah, you're Val's Taylor. Okay, good. I'm in good company. Is Val here?
No, she's sick.
Oh.
So I'm supposed to FaceTime her in.
All right. They're all 12. They're all 21. Yeah. They give us busy.
Yeah, right here. Hi, Val.
Yes, time.
I was just working the room.
No, you're good, brother.
Did you sell your GTO? You didn't? Okay.
It's for sale.
Okay.
I want to get one that's not such a project. It's a little too much for me.
It's a major, that's too much for me.
morning, everybody. Good to see everybody. We have Terry and Val and Susie on a live stream. So welcome, guys. Hello. These folks couldn't make it today. Corey is in Montana taking care of her mom. Corty had an appointment. Kelly's in Palm Springs. Sherry is showing investment properties. Val is not feeling well, and so she wanted to keep us all safe by not being here. But we miss you, Val. Wish you were here. Terry is California dreaming, and Susie is in Antarctica. I'm not sure if any of you follow her her Facebook post, but she's in North Dakota. Is that right? Nebraska. Yeah, thank you. And Nebraska, and they got like 8 feet of snow or something disgusting. So it's been fun following along with Susie's social media. So. The Boise office, so I figured we'd start off with a kind of a fun little update. There's been a project that I've been wanting to do for 5 years that I finally did, and that is to illuminate the Boise office sign, and we have done that. So it's got both sides, of course, and it just looks really good. If you haven't seen it yet, yeah, cool. It pops.
I was there the other night, and
That looks really, really, really sharp. Yeah, I was really excited to see it. I was like, the lights themselves are pretty. The light is pretty small. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, when he installed it, the light is like a cylinder light, and I was like, I'm not sure that's going to light the whole sign enough, but it really does. It's really perfect. So, very excited for that. So I thought I would share that with you guys. This was on the way home from the hockey game, so the photos are a little bit blurry. That's right. Branding. So the Atova branding, I've always loved the Atova branding. I love the branding of the brokerage itself. I also love the branding of our websites. And some of you may have noted that over the course of the year, we've been doing a lot more social media, and we incorporated the tree from the BoiseIdaho.com logo kind of as the symbol here on the Facebook site, and that's on the header. This is on the individual posts. You can see it there in the upper left. And I think that looks really good. I mean, I just like the look of it. We also talked about earlier in the year modifying our slogan from real estate done right to the agents you trust. And I've noticed that although it was kind of presented as a concept, some of you adopted it and have put it in your signature lines in your emails, which I'm totally cool with. I think both of those slogans work very well for the brokerage. But that also got me thinking, these two elements together, that tree image from the BoiseIdaho.com logo that I really like, and the slogan, the agents you trust. I thought, what if we blended those elements together and looked at potentially rebranding Atova, at least as far as presentation goes. And so I came up with this concept, and I wanted to get some feedback from you guys. So I don't know if it's ready yet, but it's not. I have the logo so you can come up on your phone. I'm not sure how sharp that looks there. It's kind of fuzzy and but in a minute, I'll have it so that you can see it on your phone.
The font. You're talking about.
But I think if you don't like the blue, just make it darker.
Okay, yeah, that's what I want. I mean, if we don't like the blue, do we like? So there's two elements to talk about, right? There's two elements. One is the slogan, real estate done right versus the agents you trust, and the logo modification. So here I've got them both side by side. And so the general question here is, are we happy? Do we love what we have? It's been tried and true. It's served us very well for many, 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 many years. It's something that consumers are familiar with, and it's recognizable. And changing a brand is a very, very significant thing. But it doesn't mean that it's not something worth considering. And that's the purpose of Atova Advisory, right? So the Atova Advisory is not an announcement of things that we're doing. Rather, it's an exploration of things that we might want to do and it's an opportunity for us to to get feedback on, do we want to explore these things or not. If you go, let's see, I'll test it first here. Will it work? So do we like it? Do we hate it? That's what I want to hear. Yeah, DeBoden.
Coming from a design background,
Mhm.
I'm gonna be super critical.
Please do. That's
So
what I want.
Please forgive me, okay? The tree doesn't have anything to do with what the words of Atova are, but I like the tree. But it's the font of Atova that reminds me of like an insurance thing of some kind. The font just, it's just doesn't present itself in the way that the other logo presents itself, like classically and, you know.
Strong.
Yeah.
Classic, strong. It's too fluffy, too soft, a little too weak.
Real estate describes what Atova does, whereas the agent you trust, what are you sure it's not specific enough?
It's too broad. That's good feedback.
I like the tree because we're city trees.
We're rooted, we're establishing roots, we're that.
Yeah,
I
and
think
that
it's really
needs to
neat.
go further. That needs to go further. If you're gonna use the tree, then use what the tree is representing.
Can you put it inside your little triangle?
Triangle?
The tree, with the tree and the yellow, or yellow logo.
It would be too much. Steve?
I like real estate done right.
You want the two?
It's clear.
See the tree on the
Real
old?
estate, and it doesn't, sometimes somebody says, trust me, and you're like, oh.
No, I do not.
It has the opposite of the desired effect. Yeah.
But I think it'd be cool if you move that tree to where the gold quarter circle is. maybe.
Okay. So not inside of it, but replace it perhaps.
That's kind of what I would like.
So I did, Steve, I missed what you said.
Exactly kind of where I was going with that. Enhance the old, but refresh it in a certain sort of way. And that tree
Just
speaks,
so we have something fresh.
I don't know, it speaks like invigorating or something. I don't know. You look at the tree and it's,
So just to add some more context, I did try first the tree with the existing typeface, the font, but the softness of the tree and the sharpness of the existing typeface, they contrasted too much. So it's almost that if we were going to adopt a logo like this, it would require a softer font to match the softness of the tree, which you guys have pretty clearly articulated that you don't like, which I share in that largely. I do like the freshness of it. It's lighter and it feels a little more friendly. But there's a question: do you want sophisticated and professional, or do you want soft and friendly? And maybe from a real estate firm perspective, sophisticated and professional trumps soft and friendly. I also like the comment on the agent is unclear. Is it an insurance agent? Is it, what is it? So there's
I kind of like that though, because then more people could call looking for insurance.
like we're gonna flip them
Then
around.
we can flip them around, sell them out.
I can't sell you car insurance, but let's talk real estate. Okay, I've been really happy with our branding, but I never want to grow complacent, right? And so I think it's healthy to explore from time to time and say, hey, should we think about freshening up? But the word I'm feeling here is, like what we have, let's stick with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Cool. So then everybody can vote A. It sounds like that's where we're going on this. But these are your three options here. Let's keep the original logo and slogan. I prefer the new logo and slogan, or other. And I'll mess around with it a little bit more. I mean, maybe I'll throw out.
Maybe something that's not such a huge change. Like more subtle.
I'll-
I got a lot of comments about us changing the color. How long ago did we do that? And I thought that was cool because it got people to talk to me. I mean, people talk to me, but It gave him a reason to talk to me, and then we started talking about other stuff.
Val likes the logo. She agrees with the font change, and she says that she also likes agents you trust. So I think there's elements that are good here. So I'll just so you guys can see it in the broker daily video tonight or soon. I'll do the tree with the existing logo just so you guys can see it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if there's alternate opinions after you see that, certainly feel free to chime in and let me know.
And maybe there's a different tree, like
That's
a
what I was
slightly
thinking.
different,
Yeah.
stronger tree or something.
Like a sharp.
Like
A
similar-
sharper something with
similar
theirs.
to those-
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Can it be in the same color family as the navy blue is right now?
Yeah.
So it's deeper green instead of like kind of cartoonish green,
Yeah.
like the old.
Like the old one. Right.
Could you define cartoonish green?
I don't have enough coffee for that.
This is a screen capture from a service that I've been testing. It's called Simple Texting, and the concept here, well, what it is it enables a consumer. We have the number on the Boise office sign is 208-336-5151. 336 is a 83702 prefix. So it's, if we're targeting kind of Boise in general, I think using that 336-5151 is the number to use. We have text enabled that phone number. So a customer or a consumer wanting to inquire of Atova's services can text that number, and that text will arrive at this portal. And then we can respond to that text via the portal. So it's essentially, they're using their phone to text us, we're using the portal to communicate back with them. So the concept is that we would have Susie or myself after hours, or potentially you guys if you wanted to sign up to participate in that, to be on the receiving end of that. So that's how the technology works. The concept that I have that I've been thinking about is, it came from when I was looking for a carpet cleaner of all things. I wanted a carpet cleaner, and I was having a hard time reaching somebody. I wanted to like arrange it like right now. I didn't want to leave a message and get a call back later. I wanted it off my list. And so called the first person, got voicemail, called the second person, got voicemail. Went to the third site, and it said, text us for a real person response right now. I'm like, oh great, I don't have to talk to anybody. And supposedly I can text them, and a real person is going to be on the other end, and I can make this appointment. So I did. So I texted it, and there was a real person. They're like, we could do it tomorrow at 3. I'm like, awesome. Here's my address. We'll see you here. And it was that simple. So I was thinking, as a result of that, that we could have a marketing campaign that was something along the lines of, home values have been up significantly in recent years, and then over the course of the last several months, values have been adjusting to the downside, and the reality is that a lot of folks just don't know where their home value is today. If you'd like to know where the value of your home is at, text an Atova agent, or text us today, or however we wanted to word it, at 208-336-5151, and we will reply with an estimate, or text your address to us at 208-336-5151, and an agent will reply with an estimate of your home's current market value. So we're taking the phone call out of it, we're taking the visit our website out of it. It's simply text us your address and we'll reply with your home's value. Makes it really, really simple and clean. And I think that for the same reason that resonated with me when I was trying to line up the carpet cleaning, I think if we launched a radio advertising campaign or a social media campaign, that might have an interesting and perhaps powerful result. What do you guys feel about that concept?
I like it, yeah.
Anybody not like that idea?
Well, I'm just thinking of all the apps that do that, but you're right, you have to plug in all your personal information, you have to give them the data on your home, and then you get your value back. This is so much simpler and cleaner.
If it's simple, they'll use it, just like your carpet
Yeah.
cleaner.
Right.
Simple.
Oh, I don't wanna talk to you.
Yeah.
That's
People like
right.
to text.
Exactly.
Yeah, text
Yeah.
is the thing. Yeah.
Want somebody older than you.
I think text has the lowest barrier to entry out of everything. You know, I think it's
I think there's a real value in what Steve said, because so many people are hesitant to contact a real estate agent directly when they're just looking for that kind of information, so.
now
But
this
then
is
it comes back, what's the potential follow-up? I mean, are we just generating work for ourselves if there's not
Well,
follow-up?
and you don't try it, you keep in touch with them.
well, that's the whole thing is that we would now have their phone number and we'd be able to engage with them over time, right? So the second layer question is presuming that we all like the concept in general, the second layer question is how do we present it? Is it text your address to this phone number and an agent will run the comps? We would say that differently, but effectively. And an agent will run the comps and reply to you with an estimate of your home's current market value. And that denotes that, yeah, they're texting to a system, but then there's going to be a real person that's going to do a bunch of work, and then that person's going to give you your value back. And the perceived downside to that is I'm interested in getting my value just because I'm curious, but because I'm not planning on selling right now, I'm not going to ask somebody to do a bunch of work for me to get the value because I'm not interested in doing business right now. So then that introduces a second layer option, which would be to modify the language of the offering to say, and we could build this, text your address to this number, and our proprietary AI software will crunch the recent comparable sales and reply back to you with an estimate of your home's current market value. Because that feels automated, it doesn't involve a person, and therefore people might be more likely to make that request. So it comes down to this. Before I open it up for comment, it comes down to this. If I give Joe a really nice Christmas gift on December 15th, and it's unwrapped, I'm like, hey Joe, here's your $500 Christmas gift. Joe's going to feel kind of obligated to give me a really nice Christmas gift back, right? It's like, oh man, I got to think of something nice to give to Steve now. That's the consumer psychology. So if we say text your number to this address and an agent will crunch the numbers and get back to you, you're creating an environment where that consumer is going to feel indebted to the person that they have made the request of. And because I don't want to feel indebted to anybody, I'm not going to make this request. That's the negative to an agent will do this. The AI thing removes that concern, but introduces a new concern, which is I don't want some weird AI thing running the numbers of my thing, right? So there's two potential negatives there. What do we think would be the better approach?
Why do you have to identify who's setting back the information at all?
So maybe we just leave it out. So we leave it ambiguous so we don't introduce that topic.
Yeah.
So what would the wording there be then? Just text your address to this number, and we
And we will
Yeah.
provide.
Do Atova, it's a branding thing, because now what does everybody do? They go to Zillow, right? But if they know, if this gets out and they know they can just get their market value at Atova, then that's a branding thing, and then they're like, oh yeah, Atova did this for me.
We could leave the word AI out of it. We could use a combination of, and just say automated maybe. So maybe it's text your address to Atova at 208-33651, and
We will generate.
and
You will receive.
we will automatically reply. Our system will automatically reply within a few hours with an estimate of your home's current market value.
And in return, you will receive.
Yeah,
And in return, you will receive. So we leave automated out of it. Just so.
But then what is the follow-up?
Yeah, make it sound like it's a person.
Person might be turned off by one or the other.
Right, just leave it neutral.
What about,
Okay.
Because there's already this separation, right? It's a text message, it's not a person.
It's not a person.
interacting with somebody.
Right.
So they don't know for sure where that's coming from, but
Where's it coming from? So text your phone number to Atova at 208-336-5151, and we will reply with an estimate of your home's current market value.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Short and
and
sweet.
then you add if you would like more information, and then do a roster of agents as it comes up, so that there's some personal contact with it. I think the thing that people appreciate about Zillow is it's anonymous, unless you want to follow up, and then there's a contact information there. So it seems as though we want to put it back into the customer's
On their
hands
side.
and say, if you'd like to follow up with an agent, and then, the agent roster.
We can also maybe say when we provide you with an estimate of your home's current market value, you'll have an opportunity to opt in to an automated once annual update or once a year automatic update, which would seem to indicate the subtext there is we're not going to harass you, but you have the opportunity to opt in to a once a year automatic update, even though we still. But we can still harass them. so it feels like we're not going to.
That's right.
Right, that's right.
So they make first contact, so
Do you need
for
to
me,
put that in the
giving
first
them,
thing?
an option, here's where, what we're going to do for you. For further information, you could do this, or, set it up how they choose. You can set it up to.
Oh, you can do this or that.
Yeah, you can,
Yeah.
hear from us on an annual basis for, property value, insurance purposes, whatever it is.
Or direct
Or-
to agent, right? Directly contact.
Directly contact
But
the
how are we
agent.
tracking that?
It's gonna be
How do we track that? And what if they say, oh, I really, thank you so much. Are we signing our names to the response? Will
We-
provide
we-
that
we
number
would-
to them? It's gonna come from our phone number, right? So is it signed by us, or what's gonna be the protocol?
Or does it comes from this number, doesn't it?
Yeah, it'll come from.
Whatever.
Yeah, so there will be the way I envision the back end of this happening would be like any other lead. So we would have an initial engagement would happen via the platform 336-5151, but then it would be like maybe the last message would be, if you want to speak with a real person in our brokerage, Marty Sieberts can be reached at this phone number, right? And then maybe the workflow, we have like Relo 1, Relo 2, Relo 3, Relo 4. Maybe the workflow on this would be that a week later, you send a follow-up text from your phone that says, hey, I wanted to follow up on the automated value that we sent you. Maybe you say something like, I did a second look to make sure that the estimate was correct, and it did. Those comparables were good. There was one other comparable I thought might make sense, but it also supported the original value. In any case, if you have any questions, I'm the agent at Atova that's available to help you, and contact me anytime.
Working on your.
But it could
Yeah.
change in 2 months, so I'll be in contact if you want another.
The market's moving, and if you want a more incremental update, I'm the person you can call. Yeah.
I like that better than that, because it, again, makes it autonomous to a certain degree and allows them to contact us.
Right.
And the agent you can call.
Yeah, and I would prefer it to be more direct,
Yeah.
rather than an if statement, because an if statement is kind of a,
Yeah.
I didn't mean
that
it.
you can call.
I like the idea of a balance of kind of both, people that wanna talk to somebody, and people that just wanna send a text and get their information now.
Yeah.
Not focusing on one or the other, but trying to
And
capture
can't
both.
you give them that option
Yeah.
after they text? Like, that doesn't have to be in the initial ad, like, this whole long thing, like.
This is
text
the
them, and then if you
structure.
want it,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
The first thing could just even be like a no obligation personalized
Yeah.
market value. And then when you send them that value, then you say, here's your value, if you wanna follow up, opt into this. Cause like, I feel like if you put that all in the first ad, it's just too much.
Right.
too much.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree. So it's stepping stones.
Yeah.
So the first one is very simple and open and generic, and then when we provide them the value, that's when we give them the option.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
How do you
I like
do
that.
that on a radio? Like, how are you gonna get this
I think social media, there's a little bit of a mismatch with social media because if I'm on Facebook, for example, and it would almost be like texting is a non sequitur. If I'm on Facebook, then it would make sense to message us. Send us a Facebook message and we'll reply with an estimate of your home's market value. So we could do the same concept. So I think radio would be text us for the home value estimate, and I think social media would be message us. Do you agree with that? Or would it be okay to put the text us in social media? I guess it would. You could do the whole thing as text.
It's going to reach a lot of people.
Like, that's true. I mean, I was on their site and I went from their site to my phone. I was happy to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we do text on radio and we do text on social media, and those would be our two vehicles for promoting this.
When you're saying radio, are you saying like an actual local radio station?
Yeah.
Or Pandora or?
No, local broadcast. Yeah. We talked radio a couple years ago, and we never did anything because we were so busy. We didn't really need to do that, and so it was like there was no motivation. But now there's motivation, right? I think like we talked about at the Christmas party, we want to spend into this. We want to market more, and so the motivations are different. So this is something that is not conceptual and that will die on the vine. This is something that we're going to execute on. So this feedback has been very helpful. Thank you.
What about Spotify, Steve?
I would. So yeah, let's spend a couple seconds here. Spotify, which is streaming.
Yeah.
Somebody said Sirius XM, which is now running ads. But can you run local ads on Sirius XM? Do they have geo-targeting? I don't think that you can. So I think we could do geo-targeted Sirius XM or Spotify stuff, and then terrestrial, traditional radio, and then social media. We talked about radio stations that we listen to. Let's throw a bunch of those out really quick. The River, Bob, NPR. That was something you guys talked about before. Jack, Radio Boise is BSU. Okay. The Eagle. KBOI is like 670 KBOI, and then there's 580 KIDO.
KIDO, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sonus?
Internet radio.
Okay, so Sonus.
We've listened to it for quite a while.
Do you hear local stuff on there?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Most definitely.
Okay, so Sonus and Spotify on the internet side.
Pretty much, yeah.
Other radio stations?
The Bull.
The what?
The Bull.
The Bull, yeah, country.
You kind of want to try to probably.
You want to spread out the
Yeah,
genres.
all different types.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you guys. So this is question 2. Let's do it. Let's don't do it, or other, A, B, or C.
Did you touch on lightly how that would be assigned? Robin?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's it'll be opt-in. So if you don't want to deal with it, then you can just not. Pretty much how we do reloads would be the same exact system.
Yeah.
Now, there are some of you that are just like, no reloads for me, thank you, and others of you are like, yeah, the more the better, right? So it'll be the same exact structure. Also in this meeting, I want to, there's a couple things that I want to revisit from years past. So just because we said no to something 3 years ago doesn't mean that we want to say no to it now, or 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, right? So it's not a once and done, never consider it again. It's something that we should evaluate on an ongoing basis. On this particular question, I want to spend 60 seconds. Staying at 80 agents or increasing to 100 agents. Staying at 80, I'm completely content with, but the cost is that the brokerage rankings, of which Atova has always been top 10, we will fall off that list. So as the market grows and the agent count grows, if Atova's count stays the same, Atova will stay the same size, the market will do this, and so our share of the market will dilute and will no longer be on that list. So do we want to stay in the top 10 brokerages, or do we want to stay the size that we are? Those are two competing interests, and I need to know what your preferred direction is. Coco.
What's the number count to stay on the top 10?
100 is where we would probably want to go now, and that would necessitate It's not like we go 100 agents and then magically we have 100 agents, right? It would necessitate recruiting, which we do none of. We're word of mouth only, and I've been fine with that. But I'm also happy to recruit. If staying top 10 is important, I'm happy to build the brokerage larger and train people and do that.
Are you at 80 now?
Yeah, we're at 79 or 78. Yeah,
Do you turn anybody away?
I've turned people away. Yep.
He turned me away for the first 2 years.
I turned Terry away. Terry. Yeah, Terry loves to tell that story.
Yeah, I do too. He looked at me like I was a horse, and he was like, "We're not hiring right now." All right.
My
Look, we're-
only thought there
we're got
is
you.
the transient nature of agents with that additional 20. I mean, we've all seen people come through your brokerage to see what you have to offer, kind of take your tools and run.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be my only.
Yeah,
You know,
that-
some of us are gonna stay here forever.
That's
Whether
certainly.
you like it or not.
That's certainly frustrating for me to bring somebody in and train them up, and then they decide they're going to do what they want to do. But that's kind of the cost of doing business. I think it's like a sift where you have to put in 10 agents and you end up with 3 long-termers that understand what Atova's all about and they want to be part of it forever. To a large extent, you guys are the result of that, right? So. That is a cost of doing business, but it's not something that would prevent me from wanting to do this.
Another question.
Yes, Coco then Sue.
So maybe I'm just super naive about this, but I really like the agency, the size of it. It really works well for me, and I've been in other agencies that are huge. So I guess my question is, from a consumer standpoint, I don't think the people that I work for are looking for an agency that's in the top 10. So how does that, do you feel like that translates to customers? Is that a
No.
big proportion of what people are looking for?
I don't believe so. But I know it's really important for it's fun. Like Marty is like, I love Marty to death because she's like she's like our greatest cheerleader, right? And that, for me, it's very, all you guys are cheerleaders, right? But Marty, carries the flag. And
Carry that Atova flag, right?
you do. Yes, thank you, Marty. We all love you, Marty. You're the best, really. And that's something that Marty's always proud of, right? And we're all proud of it. It's something that gives us a good feeling that we're part of a brokerage that's powerful in our market. I'm proud of it too, but it's not critical to me. But if it's critical to you, then it becomes critical to me.
Does it change does 20 agents gonna make a big difference in the field? I'd still consider 100 agents like a small local
Yeah.
brokerage. And that's kind of how I tell people, we're a small local brokerage. I don't think 20 more agents is gonna be now we're huge.
Right. Yeah. I think that I love being able to tell people that Atova is a mid-sized brokerage by design. We want to have enough agents to have a strong presence in the market, but not so many agents that there's, it's just chaos. There's no supervision. And everybody's running around doing crazy things. So we're some of the best agents in the industry. And we are perhaps the very best brokerage in the market because we are a mid-sized brokerage and we have exceptional quality controls. That does get diluted anytime that we grow larger, but I would think that 80 to 100 probably wouldn't be that dilutive. It's a tough one. Really, so the question is, I think you should disregard the recruiting part and the fact that we'll recruit 10 and only keep 3 in the long term. Don't concern yourself with those things. In answering this question, I'd like you to concern yourself only with, do I like 80 more, or do I want to be on that top 10 list more? And with that thought and that thought alone, please answer question number 3.
So Steve, isn't it really how much time do you have?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really
a great
I was thinking the same thing.
Will be.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sandy. Sorry, Marty. I know Sandy more. That's a great point. You're welcome to consider that as well. Bringing in 20 more agents does make me a little bit less available to you guys because now I'm focused on growing. So that's a really good consideration as well. Thank you.
So what's the threshold then? If 100 puts us in, the top 10, what about the, 60 to 80, which is where we're at? We've got to be number one in that, so to me that's more important. It's competing against brokerages that are the same size, not 1,200 agents deep.
Sure. The problem is that the Idaho Business Review doesn't rank things that way, right? So they have their structure, and their structure is flat. It's just
So that number 100 is important to you?
important to me.
Yeah.
Not important to me at all.
Okay, so for the painful question, what if you lose 10 non-producers in that 20?
So if that's optimizing our 80, right? So we talked in the past about what was the phrase I used? It was respectful attrition.
Yes.
Yeah, respectful attrition. Right? Just get busy working or get the heck out, right? I have a hard time with that because I love all you guys, right? And so I've really wanted to adopt that and really kind of optimize the brokerage. But if I've got an agent that is doing a couple deals a year, I have a really hard time kicking them to the curb because I want somebody that's going to do 20 deals a year. Maybe, but see that's part of the culture of who we are too, right? So if we adopted, if we implemented respectful attrition in an aggressive way, then I would be losing relationships that I find valuable. Even though they're marginally financially valuable, they're still relationships that I value.
Well, and don't they take less of your time, essentially?
This is Softy. And
They're doing 40, like 2 deals.
Yeah.
They're not calling you every month.
Correct. So there's that benefit too.
Business
Yeah.
structures change, right? So it's not everybody's in the office, right? We've got an office space that somebody who's not.
Yeah, that's very true too.
Is taking our space and resources to do that. If somebody's doing 2 deals a year, but they're never requiring any of your time or anything else,
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
doesn't really matter, right?
that's true.
So moving to 100 is kind of like along the same lines. We don't have brick and mortar to house 100 agents.
Right. We don't need it.
Right, what
Yeah.
it really comes down to is your ability to deal with 20 more agents,
Yeah.
and how does that affect our business individually, because now you're 1% more, or whatever that number is.
I don't want to lose my
Great.
direct line to
You don't want to lose the Barbie hotline?
My wife works for a big box company, and she'll sit there with me when I'm trying to get a hold of you, and she's like, you can reach Steve in less than 30 minutes. And where I'm at, I call somebody, I never know who's going to call me back. It might be by the end of the day. They never know what I'm doing.
That's why
So,
you left.
Yeah.
that's why I'm here.
I'm happy at 80. I'm happy providing you guys with the service that I provide you. This is all about your preference. So if you're also content with 80 and the top 10 thing in the Idaho Business Review is not critical to you, then please check A. If you feel otherwise, please check B or C if you have some other creative thing that you want to share.
One thing too, Steve, I think in our Boise group that's in and out and shuffling and there a lot, we find that we all benefit from an Oscar who's got a ton of listings and we can show or we can open house or we can, so the circulating and percolating thing is really good to have, agents that are active. So 80 or 100 I don't think has ever mattered to Joe and I. It is nice to see us up in lights, we will admit.
Sure.
But just having this group of people active benefits our business tremendously.
Well, and another way to get to preserve ranking would be to keep our 80 and have the 80 produce more. And maybe things like the text message and other the other marketing things can generate more activity. So let's maybe perhaps, unless you guys indicate otherwise when you answer this question, let's perhaps plan on that. Let's plan on staying at 80, but working to make our 80 stronger. All right. This topic or this meeting today is going to be 90% Atova, but I do want to allocate about 5% of the time to cover Earth and 5% of the time to cover Krazel, just to give you guys an update on that. So we've rebranded. We talked about this in one of the broker dailies over the course of the year. So instead of Earth RTH, we are now Earth spelled out. This is the new site, the main page. We're at 32 countries in participation, which is really exciting. We've created a company this is Spain, right, Cindy? We've created a company in Spain, Galleria Earth. We have a company in Argentina, which is, in Argentina, it's really weird. It's very, very hard for a foreign entity to create a company in Argentina. So the attorneys that we're working with there said, hey, we have a foreign entity that has gone through all of this process to create the company, but they never did any business. So it's an entity that has never done anything. And they would sell you their company so you could bypass all that process. And so we entered into a contract with that company to buy their company, and we have done that. This is the recording of that. So the company there is LDI Argentina, which we'll be renaming to Galleria Earth as well. This is the space in Spain that we have leased. This was kind of what it looked like when we leased it. This is the mock-up of what it is that we are doing there. We're doing a wine bar and an art gallery that will be a place where people can come and mingle. We're not doing a open 7 days a week, 365 days a year type of thing. Rather, it's going to be gallery events. So, coming up in May 1st to May 14th, there's the XYZ exhibition. And so for those 2 weeks, there'll be the wine bar, art gallery exhibition, then it'll close. And then 2 months later, there'll be a new exhibition there. So it's really kind of more of I was gonna say a museum, but that's not right. Yeah, exactly. That's how we're entering the space, right? In Spain, when are you gonna be there?
Next December.
Is it in Madrid or where are you going?
Madrid.
So you'll come and check it out. Let me know when you're gonna be there. We'll try and do an event.
So where do you get the local artists then?
So we're the first one that we're doing is we're sourcing art from all around the world. So one of the things that we did is we've been so this is the inside of the space. If you haven't seen it, they've got brick and the beamwork up top. This is the second room, or this is the other side of the first room. This is the second room. We've been shipping stuff there just to test to see can we ship product from the United States to Spain successfully. And so we shipped the banner there. That's not Noelia, that is Carolina. So Carolina is effectively our employee in Spain who's leading up the effort for putting all of this together. These are just some more photos of the inside of the space. There's some Earth merchandise there on the back corner. There's the photo of it. So yeah, we've been shipping stuff there just to kind of see can we get things there. This is some stuff that I sent to our architect there. We're going to be taking out a wall or two to create a little bit more flow in the space. So that's coming along. We did make a big decision with the project that has set everything back by a good 6 months, and that is that we've migrated from being an ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain and a concept where it's a pure crypto play. If you remember when we first talked about the Earth project, it was mainly to be the thesis was that we're developing the real estate on the planet the wrong way. There's a lot of hodgepodge stuff and everything's all crowded together. And when you fly across the country, I mean, you have all these swaths of open space. It's like 95% open space. Yet when we're building stuff, we're building it just all like kablam, right? And that seems wasteful to me. You're good, Dunlin. Welcome. You got 2 spots right next to each other. Welcome, Hank. So it was essentially a crypto real estate. Let's develop real estate more intelligently on our planet project. That has evolved into into the Earth Global DAO. So a DAO is a distributed autonomous organization, and we have migrated away from being an ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain to being a native token. So our own native digital asset, and that native digital asset will provide a mechanism for validating humans and providing a method for humans to provide direction, and very similar to the way that we are talking about direction here today, to enable humans globally to provide direction on how our planet is managed. So if you look at the weaknesses and the failings of humanity, there are many. And I think that if we can aggregate the people of the earth to have a collective voice, that we can begin to run our planet in a better way. And the Earth Global DAO and the Earth Digital Asset are designed to function in that regard. We don't need to get in crazy detail about the technology and the path, but that's the general concept. So that migration from the ERC20 to the native token has really put a pause on our marketing, because we've changed direction. So that relaunch with the new broader global direction will happen in conjunction with the gallery event, the first gallery event, which we're shooting for, Cindy? May 5th, I think we decided, right? Because May 1st is a holiday there.
Right, and that's a holiday, so
Yeah,
first weekend.
yeah. Cindy has been working incredibly to help with this, and it's been very helpful to have her participation. To the extent that any of you are interested in participating as well, you're welcome to. But that is the Earth update for today. It is cool to have 32 countries of participants. So we're making progress significantly. Sorry?
Is that the only brick and mortar in Spain?
We have formed the Argentina company as of, we just closed that, about 2 weeks ago? A month ago?
Yeah, end of December, beginning of January, yeah.
Yeah, so we find that process took 4 months. And who's our person there? It's not, it's Annabella. So Annabella in Argentina will be helping us identify a space. We'll be launching a space there. So essentially, the Madrid gallery is the flagship, and it's also going to be the model for what we then are going to do in Argentina.
It'll be in Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires? So Madrid, Buenos Aires is next. Steve? In Buenos Aires? That's fantastic. This December?
Yeah.
That's doable. May, June, July, August, September, October, 7 months later. Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be super cool.
Yeah, you could write it off, you go down there for.
Yeah, schedule a showing.
We all know what this is. This is like a virtual tour walkthrough, right? So this is a 30-second video. This is something I shot last night. This is me actually using the software. You guys have all used this type of technology before. You can click around, walk through, scroll up, scroll down, scroll around, and see the different things. The topic here is, I think it might be worthwhile to, again, in our marketing efforts, to talk about, or the concept at least, is when you list with an Atova agent, you always get a technological advantage. And we provide you with this and this and this, and a custom virtual walkthrough of your home that enables the home buyer to tour your home without actually having to see the home, and the 300% increased viewers, blah, 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 right? So it's a marketing thing. This is what the camera looks like that we can buy to accomplish this. And the question really is, one, do we want to offer this? Do we want to make this an anchor of our offering? When you list with an Atova agent, you always get these things, one of which is a virtual tour walkthrough. And the second question is, if we do want to offer that, would you prefer for us to acquire the hardware so that you can learn how to shoot those yourself? Or would you rather that we outsource that and pay $400 every listing to do that? So do we want to do it at all? And if we are going to do it, do you want to go to the Boise office and check out the camera and go out there and spend an hour to do it? Or would you rather spend $400 to do it? Or should we not do it at all? That's the question. So
Or it's offered through.
it's Tour Factory.
Yeah.
Or I would be an agent that would learn it, and you guys could all use me for a much smaller
Terry says that they do that. That they do the thing. What is the upcharge?
It's not that much.
$200. You say $200? So $200. So then you can B then is now $200 instead of $400.
Or,
Is there a fee
we
for
have,
that?
we have a couple of agents that learn it and are willing to do it for 50, you know, I mean, if it's in-house, I'd rather keep it in-house.
Farzine?
Yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat, I love that stuff,
Okay.
yeah.
Farzine?
360 and they put everything in there. It's the easiest thing to use for all the agents. And it's quick to get it online, get it done. 10 minutes of your time and they do it. They do a great job and you can put all of that in.
Okay.
And I think we should all do it just
Who does it?
everybody else.
Tour Factory.
Yeah, I think you should do it too.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Farzine said essentially the same thing, which is it's $200 and it's really easy, and why not? The why not is it's $200. So if we advertise, when you list with an Atova agent, you always get you get all these technological advantages, and we in our list we add 360 virtual walkthrough of your home, which increases viewers by 300%. If we advertise that, then that means that every time you take a listing, you have to spend $200. Do you want me to advertise that? Are you willing to spend $200 every time? Yes.
I think there could be concern too with the
Home quality?
quality. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a 3D and a soft hangoff or whatever?
Right. So that then becomes a question of individual engagement with the seller. Hey, we'd normally do a virtual tour, but we might want to just focus on the photos where we can create or focus on just the good angles and maybe not do a virtual tour for this one. Would you agree, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? And so just you kind of back them off it. I'd be okay with that too. But with that exception where it makes sense and where you are able to back the seller off, with every other listing, are we okay committing $200 for everything, and should we market that? So check the appropriate box and let me know.
Question with that, does that mean that we're limited then to just using Tour Factory photographers? Because that's always been an issue for us.
My issue too, I haven't been thrilled with the photography that I've gotten from Tour Factory, so I've moved away from the
Yeah, I agree with that. How are their virtual tours? Does anybody use their virtual tours? Are they good? Jill says yes. Krista says yes. Farzine says yes.
But other companies also have virtual tours.
Yeah.
Like I use a different company.
What do they charge?
It comes in a package, and I think the whole package ends up being like $450, and that's photos
And the tour.
and the tour and the outside drone shot.
So Taylor's essentially saying there's other companies, and so if you wanted to upgrade and use somebody else, that's fine. So I'm not saying this question is not, do you agree to use Tour Factory? Do you agree to get a virtual tour at your expense? That would be B. So B is yes, we should market this. When you list with an Atova agent, you will get a virtual tour, and that you're willing to pay for it in one way or another. A is buy the camera equipment. I'll learn how to use it, and I prefer to do it myself and save the money. So Atova's, I'll front the cost for the camera equipment, and then you'll be responsible for doing it on your own.
Have you seen people do that on their own?
This reminds me of that thing that we had for listing appointments where you had like the main iPad and then you'd hand out
That's right.
three
Yeah.
to your listing, and the 3 times I did it, I couldn't get
You
the
couldn't
other
get
one
it
to
to
turn
work.
on.
Yeah.
One was upside down, and I was like, I'm just
Get
gonna
it.
sell your house. Okay.
Yeah, I'm much better at selling your house than I
Yeah.
am myself.
Val says we should definitely do it. Terry says we should do it. Okay, thank you guys for the answer, and we'll move on to the next question. This is another, I kind of clumped a few of the revisit questions together. We retask IdahoRealEstate.com to form a statewide MLS, and that statewide MLS will aggregate all the MLSs in the state into one, over which agents would have the control. and we could prevent, we could take back control of our listings from Zillow and Trulia and everybody else where we have been diluted. The answer to this question before was vehemently no, and I'm still fine with that answer as well. But there is value. It is an interesting concept to do this. You would aggregate the MLSs. I know we have problems right now where I want to show property in McCall, but I can't get on the McCall MLS. Or, you know, Sun Valley, or like,
Cameron, we're never
Yep.
going to get those two. I'm sorry.
well, they've in McCall, they've even abandoned the MLS. McCall has reverted to, McCall has reverted to every brokerage has its own listings, and you go brokerage to brokerage. Yeah. Mm-mm. But the reason they did that is because of Zillow and because of agents down here diluting them. So the same concept on a much more significant basis is what drove that decision for them, and is what warrants the discussion of this here today. I'm going to just say no on this one myself. I think it's something that we want to revisit in the future, but I got too much going on. I don't think I have the bandwidth to do this with the other things that I have going on. But it is something that I want to potentially do in the future. So I will bring it up each year, and maybe in a year upcoming we'll dive into it deeper. But it would be nice. It would be nice to have a statewide MLS, and it would be nice to have. I think that our MLS sold us out.
100%.
Yeah. And so I think would be very interesting for us being agents collectively in Idaho to wrestle control back, very similar to the way that agents in McCall have wrestled control back.
Do you pay for the McCall MLS and the Sun Valley just for yourself?
We have paid for McCall MLS 3 times. Most recently, I believe I did it with Donna Lynn, and with Donna Lynn is where she discovered and relayed to me that there's no listings here. The only listings in the McCall MLS now are in like Tamarack. I think there was a few Tamarack listings, but nothing else.
I'm seeing a few now because the market's changing, right? So.
Oh, they're.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've never been the member of the MLS there. I don't know.
Yeah, some portable realtors wants to stay their own little.
Yeah, they want their bubble. Mm-hmm. That's question 5. All right, Krazel. So Krazel update. Sorry. C would not be don't market this. C would be don't ever consider this. Maybe in the future, or don't market this, or don't consider this, or never consider this. So B, maybe in the future, or C, never consider this, would be the 2 things I'd probably want to see from you guys on this selection. All right, quick Krazel update. Krazel is eliminating the frictions of the traditional real estate sales model and enabling buyers and sellers to transact directly. That is the concept and the thesis behind the project. You guys have seen the mock-ups before. You can create an account, you can list your home, the buyers can browse the homes, they can schedule a showing for the home on the app. The seller receives the showing request and they say, yeah, 4 o'clock is fine. The buyer can view the home. After the buyer views the home and asks them, hey, did you like what you saw? Do you want to write an offer? They can submit an offer. The seller receives the offer. The seller can counter offer. The buyer can review the counter offer and accept or counter again. Then the contract is drafted. The contract is sent to all the parties. You can sign electronically right on your phone. Once you have gotten into contract, there is the third one from the left at the top. There's, I guess the second one from the left at the top is, choosing vendor selection. So on the right-hand side at the top is the transaction workflow. So the app will prompt the consumer, hey, you need to schedule an inspection, so please choose your inspector, and it gives you a list of inspectors to choose from. Cindy has been very helpful in that regard as well, lining up vendors in our target test markets. So we have inspectors and lenders and escrow officers that are now have opted into the platform and are ready to be presented as options to buyers and sellers. The workflow prompts the buyer and seller through the entire transaction, and the closing happens traditionally at an escrow office. All of the parties communicate via chat on the platform. It's really a cool automated thing, and it's been an incredible journey developing this piece of software because it is really a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be. With regard to that development process, I'll give you a quick glimpse into how the time frames have been working. This is from October 5th of last year. This is when the development team that we have on the Krazel project gave us the latest beta release version. They're essentially saying, hey, here's the latest version. That was on October 5th. On November 22nd, I finished the QA, so about a month and a half later, it was a month and a half worth of testing and identifying bugs and workflow issues, and I replied back to them with a 15-page list of QA items that needed to be fixed, which I can show you, but I'm not going to because we are already at 11:20. And then on January 31st, they're getting back to me saying we've completed the majority of the smaller changes. Those changes are live. There's a handful of more complex issues we are still working on. We've also found some additional bugs we're fixing as we go through it. We should have this completed within the next few weeks. So that's, 2 weeks ago. So from October 5th, they gave me a new version. A month and a half later, I gave them the QA list. That was November 22nd. So December to January, so about 2 months and a week, they've made most of those fixes. They're saying they need a couple more weeks to get the next version to me. So we have like a 3-month cycle for version release, QA, fixes, new version. That 3-month cycle has been what I have been living for the past year and a half as we have been refining this software. I have made a decision on a very, very, very big question, and that very, very big question has been whether or not for Krazel to be a software tool that consumers pay for, or whether for Krazel to be a licensed brokerage and a software tool that consumers use. As a result of my conversations with the MLS in Portland and Seattle and Salt Lake, it became readily apparent that the only decision was for Krazel to function as a licensed brokerage. So yours truly is about halfway through a very tedious process of getting licensed in Salt Lake. So that's not fun. The good news is that it's online, which you can't do in Idaho. But it's incredibly different it's incredibly interesting how different everything is from state to state. It's really going to cause me some problems, I think, because I'm going to have to segregate. Like, what am I answering here? Well, right. But our attorney here is licensed in all of these states, and so they've agreed to. Our attorney here is crafting the contracts for each of these states. But because Krazel is going to operate as a licensed entity, we are only going to launch initially in one beta market, Cindy, which is Salt Lake. So I'll get licensed in Salt Lake first, and then I'll move on to the next one, and then I'll move on to the next one. I know you, so we have to switch gears just a little bit. But yeah, I wanted to be able to announce this today. So this is what I've been working on pretty heavily for the past 2 or 3 weeks to figure out which direction we're going to go. So our test market launch will be Salt Lake City, Utah. That will happen when the software is done and once my licensure is complete. They're saying, if you go back to the first, do I have that here? Yeah, the legal side of things is on track for April 1 test market launch. And I believe we will need a couple more rounds on the programming side between now and then. So on the legal side and my licensure side, we will be ready April 1st. I think because of the couple more rounds of software, we look at 3 months from 2 3-month increments from November. So December, January, February, March, April, May. So probably May, June, we'll be looking at our test market launch in Salt Lake. Tickets for veterans and their family. Idaho Steelheads, Boise State football, Boise State basketball, Boise Hawks. I think it would be cool to have a kind of a give back marketing thing where Atova offers free tickets for veterans and their families. I think so, but here's the other side of it that I want you to consider, because it's a consideration of mine, and I want some feedback on it. The one perception is I love it. What a great organization. They're doing something nice for veterans and their families. The other flip side of that is,
What about me?
or oh look, another corporation, exploiting veterans for their own personal, benefit. They've devolved veterans into a marketing campaign to make themselves look good. And like if you're gonna give to charity, you give to charity. If you're gonna give to charity and then go tell the world, look how much money I gave to charity, you kind of become an asshole, right? Sorry for the language, but that is a potential perceptual cost. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, what would this be tied to?
It'd be tied to nothing. It would be a marketing thing. It would be another. We would have a diverse marketing campaign, which would include the easy text to our phone number to get your home's market value. And then I heard another Atova thing, or I saw another Atova thing online where they were doing this promotion for free tickets for veterans and their families. And so it would be a part of a blended. No, it would probably be some type of like lottery. You call it and we'll get you on the list, and we'll pick people at random, and maybe.
You're not being real.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, but the core question here is, would such a marketing campaign be perceived as genuine and boost Atova in the eyes of those that hear and view what we're doing, or would it come across as some type of exploitive, negative thing?
Would it be part of how we give back, like Boise and all those other, and the town?
We could blend it with that whole thing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's what we do, and we're local.
We have-
We love our community, and here's how we give back. And
So let's not make it veteran specific. Maybe offer that to a little broader range of individuals.
How do you? First responders.
And maybe it's a time frame, you get in for the game or whatever.
Because some
Provide service.
So just in general, for those that provide service, if you have
rotate veterans,
Nurses.
nurses, we could actually market it that way, where it's for the Boise Hawks this season, we're doing veterans and their families, and stay tuned for our nurses giveaway in the fall for hockey. Donalyn?
So I don't understand the delivery of the marketing. Where does that happen?
That would be radio and social media. Yeah, we could do direct mail. I mean, it could be anywhere. It's conceptually, it's pretend everybody in Boise all of a sudden heard this message. Is it something that we want to do? So we have the Atova Aces, which is our collective individual efforts. But maybe we do some other brand where it's the Atova.
Quarterly something.
The Atova quarterly give back, community give back, and it's.
Yeah, then it's not just open-ended and,
But then you make it an annual fair so that people anticipate it.
Yeah.
you know?
We could do one for kids, like Ronald McDonald type of vibe.
Right, because everyone's going to have their favorite
Right.
nonprofit or whatever that they want to target, but.
So then we step back from veterans exclusively and make it a more diverse set of people. And does that then makes it less exploitive? I think because it's broader.
So I would think sometimes there's, like, for instance, veterans, it's so broad. There's veterans in every family of every age anymore, which I'm not against it because I think it's awesome, but you hear it all the time. But I think there's a lot of, like, seniors who might be veterans, or seniors who have disabilities, or seniors out there that, I don't know, don't have as much to that. I mean, we have all these ages, but there's a lot of lonely seniors out there that probably could benefit from this.
That's a great group too.
I mean,
Okay.
sometimes they're not out and about, or maybe they're single skirted, or that sort of thing.
And so maybe we integrate that into the front end marketing. So we have the Atova quarterly give back, and this quarter we're doing veterans and their families, and stay tuned for the next quarter where we're doing seniors, and then followed up with kids in needs.
Senior veterans or senior,
Anything.
or like the Ronald McDonald House of Kids.
But are you advertising it as a lottery or a nomination? Because if you just say, hey, tickets for veterans and their families, or nurses, like every nurse in the valley is gonna be like, hey, I want my ticket, and they don't get it, and they're gonna be like,
I'm a veteran now.
wait a minute, they said they were giving nurses tickets,
Well, maybe
and I
it's
didn't get one.
maybe it's just.
It's
I
a
don't-
giveaway.
I
It's
don't-
not for everybody.
I wouldn't mind. I mean, I've talked to the Hawks and I've talked to the Steelheads already about buying tickets in bulk, like 500 tickets. Just like buying the whole half of the right section, and what would they, and even maybe doing like a co-promotion. So our promotion would be just about us, but then they could promote it as well as being sponsored by Atova, and so we get them a lot more ticket sales for a game that they wouldn't normally sell out, and in exchange for us buying all those tickets, they agree to promote this promotion to their group as well as the promotions that we do. So there's a lot of synergy that can be created from this. But overall, let's modify the question to, instead of it just being for veterans, it's for a variety of groups on a quarterly basis, where those groups are changing over time. A equals yes, this is awesome. B equals no, this is tacky. And C equals other, please comment.
Would this be next season?
I'd want to start this now. Yeah, I'd want to do.
You're talking about steelheads, right?
That Steelheads would be next season. Yeah, our first ramp up here would be for the Hawks, because that's what's coming up right now. And I talked to them first because they're closest, and then we would from there migrate into what would be next, BSU football. Whatever's next. So whatever the cycle is of sports, like Wahoos or whatever the things are, is when we could
4 times a year.
match it. Yeah, exactly.
I like it.
Yeah. Another thing that I think is worthwhile because it is a differentiating point with us, and that is when you work with an Atova agent, your agent is your agent. You're not going to hire an agent and then find out that you never talk to the agent again because they have passed you off to their team, and you have a variety of different people that you're talking with, and it's too many cooks in the kitchen, and it's so when you work with an Atova agent, the relationship is one-on-one. Your agent is going to care for you directly. Your agent is going to manage your transaction personally, and you're going to have a single point of contact from the moment you meet with your agent to the moment that you close your transaction. Now, that doesn't prevent like Donalyn and Hank, husband and wife, that they're effectively one person. Joe and Marty, you're effectively one person. We're not talking about that type of thing. We're talking about the Lacey Bishops of the world, where Lacey shows up and smiles at you, and then once you sign on the dotted line, you don't hear from her again.
Right, but the buyers who choose Lacey are choosing her because of her team.
They don't know what's going on.
In part.
But they knew.
But some of them don't know.
Because it's that factory that she has.
Right.
And it's successful
So
for her
we do
brand.
deal with that quite a bit, with TC.
Correct.
Which our fellow realtors out in the community love, because that's exactly what happens. We often are in a contract with an agent and boom, day 2,
Oh, yeah.
TC. Who's not part of the contract, you shouldn't really be getting all the legal documentation anyway. So I think there's that. So that is part of what we boast about with our team. It's gonna be us.
So that exact thing, do we want to boast that on a brokerage level? Now, the cost of that is that we will be directly denigrating many of our peers in the industry, right? So we will be specifically trash talking everybody that, like the Keller Williams model, where we will effectively be saying, Keller Williams sucks and Atova is good. And that's, oh, sorry.
I've been saying it for years. No, I like that.
I have no problem with marketing it, it's just, yeah, how you do it.
I think that at least it gives the customer the opportunity to choose who they want. If they want to go this way, you have that opportunity, but we don't. We do it this way, more of a boutique.
Did you know when you hire agents at many brokerages that once you've hired the agent, they will pass off the workload to a team of a variety of different people, and you'll be working with too many cooks in the kitchen. But
I'm doing that right now in a transaction with them. It's just like I get these messages from who knows who now.
Yeah.
It's just like,
But when you hire an Atova agent, you will work with your Atova agent from the moment you meet with them to the moment you close. They will be your single point of contact. There will be one person that will take care of you from the beginning to the end.
that's good.
Okay.
I would rather point out that it's just your main point of contact and not trash the
Agree.
You don't have to say.
Yeah, I don't think you need to, yeah.
So just purely, did you know that when you, so just the, not did you know that other brokerages do it this way?
Yeah, exactly.
Purely just, did you know that when you work with us, this is what you're gonna get?
Exactly.
Call it an Atova difference or
Yeah,
something.
they can choose who they want.
What an Atova difference.
The word,
That's pretty good.
the word factory comes into my mind, right? And I am personally a very good friend of Dr. Hollingshead. I don't know if any of you have ever gone to his eye clinic. It is a freaking factory, okay? You go in there, it's like doop, 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 doop.
Yeah.
And knowing the man personally and how very nice and friendly he is, it's hard to associate that with the fact that it's a factory, right? And so the word factory, I don't know if there's a synonym or something else you can use for that to compare to that other side, because it's not just something to differentiate ourselves that you're getting us one-on-one, because everybody will say that.
It's efficient workflow.
Efficient is the proper word.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't wanna call them an assembly line. They're-
Right.
You don't.
Although that's how it feels oftentimes.
You kind of have to find the term that works for that makes us different.
No minions here.
No, that's right. No minions here.
There we go.
A, yes, this is a good differentiator. No, this is not the right messaging. Or C, other.
I can't see myself on Dr. Hollingshead. AI seems very Terminator to me.
That does, I know.
They're gonna take over. And that's why when you were talking about AI on the texting thing,
You didn't like it.
I feel like the AI
It sketches people out.
is still not
Yeah, it's
warm
not.
and fuzzy yet.
I agree with that.
Probably will be.
Yeah.
But right after I saw the negative, I saw your thing about how we write our blogs and stuff, and that was great.
This topic here is, we talked before about having messaging for Atova out in the marketplace, where it is a essentially would you like to use cryptocurrency for your next real estate transaction? Atova is technologically capable of providing that service to you. And our answer to that question was no. It's a funky industry right now that a lot of people have negative feelings about, and integrating that into Atova's value proposition is not a good idea. My discussion along those lines included the concern that at some point a brokerage in our market is going to begin offering this narrative. And so if we don't do it as Atova, you can expect that at some point, some other brokerage in our market is going to begin to offer that narrative. And are we okay not being first to market? And everybody's answer was, yes, we are. We're okay not being first to market. We don't want to dilute our brand with this offering at this time. So don't worry about it, Steve. And I was okay with that conclusion. I think it was a good conclusion. This is a new topic. This topic is, should we form a parallel brokerage, XYZ brokerage, which does the same thing, right? It's the crypto brokerage. It's completely separate from Atova. We don't have to brand it this way ourselves, but it would potentially provide us with a mechanism of protection, because we have, with this parallel brokerage that we create, we've brought it to market first, which would preclude other brokerages from having that opportunity, right? We're kind of, we're stepping into the space first, so that, and we're removing the first to act ability for anything else.
So this
Summer.
is not happening nationally or internationally currently?
It is happening.
Okay, so they're success.
Sorry, John, say it again.
I thought I read an article recently about a crypto purchase.
Oh yes, yeah. This is absolutely happening. So there are crypto-based real estate transactions happening, and there are two different ways that this exists. One is, I want to use crypto to pay for a real estate transaction that is happening in a traditional way. And then the other is, we're using crypto to innovatively facilitate a new way of closing a real estate transaction. So like a good example would be fractionalizing an investment property. So we would take an investment property, we'd put it, so we go to a seller. You say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you want to sell your 35 fourplexes. The XYZ brokerage can put those into an LLC and then create a fractional ownership that we then record on blockchain, and then we sell those fractional ownerships on the Ethereum blockchain to people directly. And so you'll get Ethereum or wrapped Bitcoin in exchange for your real estate. So you're essentially enabling sellers to sell their property for crypto instead of selling it for dollars. And that's all done on the blockchain. So whether, again, we are facilitating a traditional real estate transaction, but somebody bringing Bitcoin instead of a wire transfer, or whether we're using this technology to reinvent the way that real estate's being sold altogether, we would be able to offer both of those services.
Is it something that you would want to do with Crazzle initially?
No, not with Crazzle. Crazzle is eliminating the frictions of the traditional real estate model to enable buyers and sellers to transact directly. It's not a crypto project. And I wouldn't want to dilute it for the same reason I don't want to dilute Atova.
Would we be an agent at two broke? Like, how would that benefit us? Like, would we be able to just like refer it to that brokerage? Or
It would be a referral thing. So the parallel brokerage would be a vehicle for marketing, and it would handle the technological elements. And then effectively XYZ brokerage would partner with Atova so that the agents could provide the agent level service. And then it would just be a pass-through, essentially. So it's a marketing front, if you will, but that business would still flow to us.
So it seems like maybe the demand isn't there yet, but we want to jump on that?
That's the sexy part of it, is that the marketing can create the demand.
Yeah.
I have a big investment portfolio. I've been wanting to potentially dispose of my portfolio, and I find this XYZ brokerage particularly interesting because they offer this service that I think I'll be able to leverage to maybe get myself a better deal.
Does anyone do it in the Valley?
Not here right now, right? And so I know that somebody will. It's going to be it's going to be a Lacey Bishop or Mike Brown. Yeah, that's right. And so for me personally, if Lacey Bishop or Mike Brown or somebody like rolls this out, I would be like, ah, right? I'll be really agitated. So
You build it, they come.
yeah, exactly.
What brokerages, actually right now that we can look up that are doing this, just to?
None that I know of. It's all micro level, like smaller offerings.
Why wouldn't brokerage want to use crypto? Doesn't everything go through a title company? You're not collecting funds.
But the sellers.
So because there are many billionaires and multimillionaires that have tons of value in crypto that would like to diversify, and if you provide them with an efficient mechanism for trading their crypto into real estate, some of those people with lots of money will do that. And so you're enabling owners of real estate to tap into that market. Hank?
There are some
So it seems like it's more of the marketing issue. So when we look at Atova, and I get it for like say 50% of the mainstream thinks crypto is taboo. You don't want to be marketing to them and say, hey, we're this crypto person, right?
That's why we didn't do it for Atova.
I understand.
Yep.
But enabling the process. So if that did come across the table where a buyer wants to use crypto, and we have the system in place to where we can enact that, and maybe the marketing isn't to the general public, but it's only to crypto exchanges or people who are into the crypto, which is its own kind of, call it a cult little following. That would be where I would see you have the marketing part is where you can dilute the brand of Atova. So I guess my question is, to enable it, what's the danger in doing that and just enabling it under your current brokerage? Why do you have to make a separate brokerage just to allow us to have that transaction go through?
So what Hank is saying effectively is we could make it a silent offering, and when we encounter somebody that wants to do this type of transaction, that we could say, oh, we can handle that for you.
Yeah.
That's certainly a path that we could pursue. Absolutely.
And then only market it in those
spheres. So we could promote. We could have Atova crafted marketing that is only present on like crypto websites. Absolutely a workable solution. I think the benefit of the XYZ brokerage would be that it would enable us to target people that aren't in that space right now, but that would understand the amount of money that's in that space. Like, I'm not really interested in crypto, but I heard this ad where they said that they could do this, this, and this. I know there's a lot of money in that space, so that really got me thinking. So being able to market the XYZ brokerage on a much broader basis, I think it's like a wider net. The wider net might create more opportunities.
Why wouldn't we?
Right.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we?
It seems like a
They're
no-brainer.
cutting edge and in front of everyone.
So
And you're concerned about the taboo about what crypto is right now, not associated with Atova?
there'll be no association with Atova. Yeah, the only reason we wouldn't want to do this is because of what I've worked right here, which is B. It's a distraction. So this would tie back into the Steve Barbie dilution situation.
Oh, yeah.
Steve, even though you've got so much going on, you still provide.
Yeah.
I mean, you're so
It's because I prioritize Atova. So what I always do is prioritize Atova, and everything else is secondary. So a lot of the other stuff that I really am passionate about is going slower than I want, and it's just a result of me prioritizing Atova. So I would continue to prioritize Atova, and I wouldn't. Other stuff would get diluted. So Krazel might get diluted, Earth might get diluted, because now we have XYZ brokerage, right? So yes, this is awesome. No, this is a distraction. C. Other, please comment.
Can we call it crypto?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
this, what you're talking about, would it be almost like an entity, like a 1031 exchange sort of thing, and it would go through there and then buy the real estate? Is that how it would work?
You could kind of conceptualize it that way, yes, because
Is there a lot of risk, like with the exchanging of the crypto?
there's no risk. There's less risk than traditional models. So that's the beautiful part about crypto that the world doesn't understand yet. So if you remove the internet money component of crypto and you just look at the underlying technology, blockchain, blockchain is infinitely more secure than our legacy methodologies. So if you create an LLC and you fractionalize it and you sell it on blockchain, your ownership of that unit of the LLC, which owns the underlying real estate asset, your ownership is cryptographically secure. It's the most secure thing that you could possibly have. You hear on the internet, lock your title lock service, because you have title fraud. Why does title fraud exist? Because titles are recorded in these legacy database systems, which can be infiltrated and taken control of. When you take a real estate asset and you put it on the blockchain, that risk is eliminated completely. So it's in 20 years or 30 years or 50 years, title companies will be gone, the county records will be gone, everything will have migrated to blockchain. So.
And if the seller says, hey, I want to be part of that, like you have a seller and like, yeah, put me on that exchange, there's no real additional risk to the seller.
There's less risk. There's less risk.
Really,
Yeah.
the only thing you're worried about is the public perception.
Public perception. That's the only thing. Yeah.
I mean, with the negative news.
That's correct. Yeah. It's like people today saying like this blockchain thing. I really don't get it. Is a lot like saying I like sending letters in the mail to my friend, and I'm never going to use this email thing. Right? It's the same thing. So
I'm never going to get an electric car.
Yeah. Right.
Sure.
Should the brokerage take over the reload process? I've asked this before. I got a limited amount of feedback, but I'd like to, since I have a wider audience here, currently we get a reload lead, we assign it to the next person in the queue, and then you are responsible for going to the office and getting the materials and looking at the listings or finding the listings and doing all the work and going to the post office. Would you like for the brokerage to take that over? Or would you rather keep the control? Susie, Cindy, me, other people. No. You would get a stack of letterhead that you would pre-sign, and we would keep an inventory. So you would still have your own signature and your own little personal note. It's just more efficient. My concern is that the processing of the reload leads is not as timely as it should be. I know that there is times where a reload lead gets assigned, and it's like, oh, I'm busy today, and then tomorrow I got busy, and next thing you know, it's like a week later, it's like, oh, I gotta get that reload package out. Bringing it back into the brokerage would make it more efficient, and I think would increase our conversion ratios. I personally think that yes, this is awesome, but if somebody has a feeling that no, agents should keep control, please choose B.
Okay, so one more step. How would the follow-up work on that?
You'd be responsible for the follow-up. So you would do reload 1, which is the acknowledgement email. The brokerage would do reload 2, which is the package, and you would do reload 3, which is the next follow-up email. Hey, did you get the package? Donalyn.
Just to be clear, if we vote A, then we can have our own letter that is being used.
Yep.
Did you say there was a percentage going back to you in that direction? What was that?
Percentage going back to me?
Was there, you're going to charge a plan of?
It's 30%.
We always charge the same.
Okay, so
Yeah, nothing will change. No, there would be no financial change to you guys.
Okay. That's a huge one.
Yeah.
What used to cost an amount? When we used to do it years ago, you would pay, we were charged like $15 or whatever it was.
For postage and stuff, if we were sending it out for you, or what?
Yeah, I mean, years ago, Toby used to send out the reload, and then we would get charged.
That's right. So it would be the same thing. You would get a postage cost on your office bill. So instead of you paying the post office when you take the package to the post office, we're taking it to the post office, we're putting it on your office bill. Yeah, so there's no incremental increase. So the split is the same, the cost is the same. It's less work for you and it's more efficient, and I think it'll increase our conversion ratio.
So postage will be passed on.
It will be, yeah. It'll be the same exact structure financially.
Got it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you pick A?
Because you're a control freak. That's it, yeah.
Like if it's me or Susie, we're not doing, like, hey, you need to send this thing out.
Correct. Yeah. No. You're just bum 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 bum.
Susie's not sending it out, right? It's gonna be coming.
Yeah, I don't wanna.
Yeah, I don't want
Out of state.
an out of
It's
state.
not going.
Well, reload packages are always going out of state, but it should come from Idaho.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not going from, yeah.
Susie might help behind the scenes with the facilitation of the process, but the physical work would happen here in Idaho.
Got it.
And it's
Yeah.
all on your CRM, so you would be able to track to see what was
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
So for example, if, a reload lead is assigned to Cindy, and then, she does the first part, then the second part is in the house.
Brokerage.
She can still see the date time if she clicks on her CRM for it, right?
Yeah, I think the way we would handle that is that rather than jumping into your CRM and doing it for you, is you would just get an email that says, hey, this has been done,
Okay.
so that you can then go into your CRM and complete that process. All right. We've got 2 great offices. We've got agent on duty signs, which are used infrequently. Do we want to, as part of our, hey, we're going to hustle again, do we want to have a physical presence in the office more often? Whether that's 7 days a week from 9 to 7, or whether it's just weekends or what. Would you be willing to spend 4 hours in the office twice a month? Would we collectively, as individuals, be willing to spend 4 hours in the office twice a month so that we could schedule up enough bodies that we always have agent on duty signs out front with an agent always there ready to go? I'm torn on this one, primarily because of B. No, this is old school, it's unneeded. It used to be, when I didn't have the whole world on my phone, an agent on duty sign in front of a real estate office was a godsend, because it's like, oh my gosh, there's somebody I can go talk to. Now it's like I really don't need that anymore. That's probably why we don't see a whole lot of agent on duty signs around town anymore. So I like the concept.
That's how our text should be.
Yeah, the
Agent on
text,
duty.
yeah.
I-
Text takes care of that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
The text that we've been talking about, like it's an
There's always an agent on duty. Yeah, anytime you need an Atova agent, there's always an agent on duty. Text, da 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 da.
Yeah, your floor time's gonna be the text time.
So I'm okay with B being the option here, but I think A would create value. I think A would create value, not necessarily, I don't think the necessary primary point of value would be the walk-in traffic that we would get. I think the primary points of value would be twofold. One, and not to be understated, is that everybody getting out of their house and spending 4 hours in the office a couple times a month would probably be a good thing. It gets your juices flowing, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to the office, I'm here, and I'm seeing other people, and I'm I'm in the business, I'm doing business, right? I think that there's value there. I think that value is very real. That would be a good reason for checking A. And then the other good reason for checking A would be you're in a listing presentation, and the seller says to you, hey, one of the reasons I called you guys is because every time I drove by the office, there was always somebody on duty. There's just always somebody there. And it made me feel like you guys are really on point all the time.
I think the aging clientele might weigh in pretty heavy in that, but that's becoming a very
A smaller thing every day. Yeah, exactly. So given those considerations, please choose A, B, or C. Okay. We're almost done. We need about 5 minutes or so. 5 minutes, I think will be good.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Hey, Cindy, how much walking traffic, like in Eagle office?
We don't put the signs up, but we should.
Well, there's no signs for our office
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, they come in like, what is going on here? Okay, so this is a great lead in to the next topic. Okay. So this ties into the signage. I don't want to get into the city of Eagle because it'll just make me angry. But I'm actively working on that. It's the amount of red tape is immense. Primarily because of the Old Town Eagle sign that's there. And then you also have the Eagle Senior Center. And so what happens is there's some grandfathered stuff there that they're using against us. And so we're doing a bunch of stuff. So we can talk about that more later. But
Can we put an agent on duty sign?
we sure can. Yeah, we can put a tent sign out, no problem.
We just need something on our window that says we're Atova.
Yeah, no,
For
I
the
know.
interim.
Well, with spring being here, that becomes way more important. So I think you're right. In the absence of a solution with the city, I think an interim solution is something we should definitely do. In fact, Susie, could you put that on my list, please? Thank you. I forget what Hank said something that made me think about this.
How much walk-in traffic is there? Like,
The walk-in traffic.
Yeah.
When we've done agent on duty signs at the Boise office before when we had floor time, the walk-in traffic was close to zero. You got one. Yeah. You got one. Yeah. Yeah, it was 6-7 times a year somebody would come through the door. You've had a couple?
I have one success on that,
Yeah.
other than that, it's like,
Done.
crickets.
Yeah. But it's there, right? It's infrequent. So
Everybody knows where Atova is.
that's right. So remember that's the third point of value. First point of value is you're in the office, motion creates emotion. Second point of value is sellers see that we're always there. Atova's always on the job. Third point of value is from time to time we get some walk-in traffic. Those are your motivations for A.
I mean, really, when they drive by the office and you've got your lovely lit up sign now, and the whole parking lot's empty, what does that represent? That represents that nobody is there.
No,
So if we do it, then that makes sure that somebody is
Potentially,
there.
right?
Yeah.
Well, we're trying with floor time, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but we don't assign leads via floor time anymore, right? So you would ban the chat system. So that there would be that. You'd have chat and floor time. Right now, chat is just Susie, and so I think Oscar got a lead the other day, which was a floor call, which was a internet thing, right? So there's a lot of value in doing it, but it requires you to spend 4 hours in the office twice a month, right? So that's a real consideration as well. So
Remember the old days when we put our names, those name writers in the windows?
yeah.
What happens if you do that at the Atova and you go?
They're doing that at Silver Creek, I saw.
Yeah.
I'd be cool with that.
They're doing what?
Putting their names in the windows.
This afternoon and
Yeah.
Like when you go down to, down in Boise, down to the north end down there, some of those real estate, they have all the listings, they have like the key.
Yeah, the listings in the window.
And say when you go up to McCall.
Yeah.
And with the application Eagle,
Yeah.
and have that walk traffic.
Yeah, in McCall, it's super cool. Yeah, we should do it in Eagle for sure. Yeah,
If you say yes on this, can we add stuff like that?
we sure can.
People sure like that, to,
Peruse.
peruse,
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
and then if there's an agent in there,
This is
that's
a
good.
weird observation.
Good point. Yes, I want to do that.
When I see a name writer at that Silver Creek office, which is just on the street from us. You thought the building was for sale? No, it makes me feel like that agent is desperate.
Oh, we used to
So
do that at our big
but
office, we
that's
had
the
them
way I
all the way
feel.
lined up across the thing.
We have twice the,
I find that that's what it's
I don't
also-
traffic now, right there on State Street, so.
Yeah.
I think it's.
It's kind of tacky-ish.
It makes
Yeah.
me feel as
But
though
an agent
this
on duty
person
sign,
doesn't work.
an agent on duty sign with the agent that's there at that moment would be okay. I think that would be fine. But having all the things up there, it just feels a little too much. I agree. All right, please answer how you prefer. Next topic ties back into the Eagle office, and it is the consideration is a result of two things. One is the consideration of what we're doing with the Earth Galleries, which is our gallery and wine bar, but also it's in consideration to this. This is a coffee shop
Going there in March.
bank. This is a coffee shop bank. This is Capital One in Austin. This is Capital One Bank in San Antonio. This is one in Chicago, Palm Beach. And you can see that there's like a coffee bar, and they've got like a lounge area, right?
There's a bank downtown here, and every time I walk by, it's empty.
A real bank or a lounge?
A bank with a lounge.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's where Bank of the West used.
This is one in Palm Beach, Florida. That they've got their outside. We've got a really nice outside patio at the Eagle office. This is one in New York City. Same thing with the patio. You may have seen Capital One cafes popping up across the country. Capital One is reimagining banking, and cafes are a big part of the process. The concept behind them is simple: design welcoming spaces where banking meets living. In our instance, it would be design welcoming spaces where real estate meets living, where everyone can relax, refuel, and unwind, whether they're Capital One customers or not. Free Wi-Fi and power outlets, comfortable seating. We don't need to read all of this, but the concept is simple. Do we? There's actually two pieces here. When we were remodeling the Eagle office, I was there talking to the contractor, and somebody walked by, and they said, "Do you know what's going to be here?" And I just looked like a contractor at the time, right? I wasn't there all fancied up. So I just said, "I'm not sure. I think it's going to be a real estate office." And the person was like, I thought it was going to be something fun. So, yeah. So that combined with this banking phenomenon that we're seeing made me think, combined with what we're doing for the Earth Project, made me think, well, hey, we could have a real estate office that is a coffee shop, or an art gallery in a coffee shop, or maybe a wine bar in a coffee shop, or maybe an art gallery and a coffee shop during the day and a wine bar at night. And maybe we could do events there, have like different artists that come through. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, that then dilutes it as an actual functional office, right? So we have, it becomes more of a, it's not the same, right? So I don't even know what to think about this particular concept. I think it's very interesting.
You gotta staff it, right? I mean.
Oh, we have to staff it. We have to staff it. We have to promote it. We have to do all kinds of stuff.
You gotta coffee.
It would be
Stuff to eat.
It would be an expensive thing.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting concept.
We should go all the way to make it a whiskey bar.
A whiskey bar. Kevin has spoken.
Get people lubed up and get them signed.
Whiskey and cigars.
There's probably someone who would love to like rent part of that space or front space. We could have Atova everywhere, and they'd love to rent it and have their own little coffee deal, and then you wouldn't have to hire somebody else who would take care of it.
Yeah, that's what Capital One did. They outsourced to Pete's Coffee.
Yeah.
And so they're not even running the show. They're just, they're participating there. So that's definitely something we could consider. Well, the logistics and the money, I don't want you guys to even concern yourselves with at this point. Mainly what I want you to think about here is this concept. Do we want Atova's presence in Eagle to be our office in this location? Or do we want Atova's presence in Eagle to be one of these other concepts? Or do we want the Eagle office that we have to stay the Eagle office and perhaps consider this concept for elsewhere in the market in the future?
Well, there's a lot of foot traffic walking by that.
Yeah.
They park here and they go here, you just keep thinking they're gonna come in, but I mean, there's so much foot traffic right there.
And there's gonna be a brewery across the street, right?
Right in front of our office.
A pub house or something.
They park there.
Right across the street.
Right across the street, yeah.
When you're there, you just
Kind of a cool idea.
I be thinking about coffee shops all the time,
Yeah.
and it's hard to find good ones unless you go to downtown Boise.
Yeah.
Like there's just
With
not
clients.
good ones.
Yeah.
It seems more
It's a cool
inviting
idea.
to clients and like come into my formal office. Like, let's meet for coffee.
Right.
I don't know if this is a plus or minus, but I've been in one in Chicago and I've been in one in
Speak up.
I don't know if it's a plus or minus, but I've been in San Francisco City Coffee Shop in Chicago.
How was it?
Empty.
Empty.
And then I went into one in Honolulu and it was like,
So it's a good concept, but nobody wants to go there.
well, I think the idea is a great idea, it's just people haven't, accepted the idea that you don't have to come in for your banking, this is also a coffee shop, so somehow the marketing has.
So think about then, that's a really good point. Did everybody hear that? Coco's been in a couple, and they've been dead. There's been nobody there because people don't want to necessarily go to a place where they think they're going to be sold, right? So I'll go to a regular coffee shop where I can get my coffee and sit in peace. I want to go to a real estate office / coffee shop where I'm at risk of being solicited. Therefore, nobody goes. So then, and there's no privacy. So maybe if we did do this concept, then maybe it would be another angle or another approach would be to make it the XYZ wine bar, coffee shop, art gallery, from the exterior, and then on the inside have it be sponsored by Atova. You know, so it's something else, and we're just sponsoring it. So we become a sub brand as opposed to the lead brand.
I think that's a better idea if we really want the coffee shop to turn people.
So, I'll throw another little add to it.
Hank?
So, for us, the only time we use the Eagle office is Don uses a little more, I do.
Printer,
Or we
scan.
clients. Hey, let's meet up at the Atova office and we go do a drive. And it'd be really slick if you just had like a nice coffee maker, like one of those Thermador, you know, like a nice, you know, thing that makes a good coffee. So we got to meet a client, we go in, we have a cup of coffee, hey, would you like some, you know, some of this Perrier or some water, have a little stacks kind of like when you go to a title office.
Yeah.
And then we can take off and go on our tour, or it's kind of like this meeting place. And it's not like an always open coffee shop, but at least you can get some good amenities and, you know.
So that'd be another angle. So we have the thing where we brand it as the XYZ coffee shop on the outside, and inside it's sponsored by Atova, or we still have it be the Atova office, and just an Atova office, only branded as the Atova office. But when you go inside, it just has a little bit more of a lounge vibe to it. So maybe we take out half of the seating and have more of a hangout environment.
Yeah, like me,
As pops, yeah.
When I visited Austin, there was this coolest, I mean, everything's indoor, outdoor because of the climate, of course, but there was a coffee bar that's also a bar. And so I was telling, it's like the middle of the day when people may not want coffee anymore and they move it to the bar, and then later on in the evening they may want coffee. That place was packed all the time. If you did something like that and then you made the Atova office like, let us inspire your home, and had like screens showing really cool shots of interiors or design things and, you know, all of that, then it would start marrying people to, I am jacked to, you know, work in a home environment, or let's get there kind of thing.
So that would be.
Yeah.
And there is a waste of time.
Say again?
I mean, unless you're gonna have all of our flyers there in the real estate office, so when they're drinking coffee, they can at least be looking at.
Something. Yeah.
I mean, otherwise it's just.
you just have a couple of big
Well,
screens.
Right. So you do XYZ coffee company, and it's purely a wine bar, coffee shop, art gallery lounge, and there's no Atova branding at all. But in the environment, it's sponsored by Atova, and we have a couple screens that are showing our stuff like the Bowden said, and our listings. And so we're leveraging this cool place that we've created to cross promote our real estate.
So just you're talking about the space we have right now, in this house.
Yeah. Yep.
So that would transform all into this.
We would remodel the Eagle office to be this concept.
As long as it gets a lot of space that, like, just go and have
Place to work, right? Yeah.
I like where your head's at, because I think maybe the Capital One name is
Keep it away.
The coffee shop, if you bring them in because of the name of the building, and then they realize Tova's over here in the corner.
Right.
That might work, especially with that part of town that's kind of
Hoity-toity, fancy. There's a lot of walking
Something's
stuff.
gonna happen to the burger den.
I don't think this would not make sense at the Boise office. The Boise office is in a great location, but it's not in a walking traffic thing. It would be cool for us to do something like this in downtown, but the Eagle office is a prime location for this. So A, B, C, or D, and feel free to add some comments as well.
I wonder how many years it will take to get the sign for the new place.
Well, I would just switch. We would just switch gears right away.
The sign
And then the secondary option is let's leave it in the Atova office. So like E would be let's leave it in the Atova office, but just change it to more of change half of the space to more of a lounge type of coffee. Still an Atova office, but now it has a lounge coffee component that's there. For you bring clients down, you can relax more, as opposed to just being desks.
What would the liability be for a contractual situation and
Drinking wine.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, you're okay to drink as long as you're not drunk, you know.
I mean, I'm not talking about me, I'm saying like.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Yeah, you can't get them plastered and be like, okay, sign the contract. That is not the intention. We'll get you drunk so you sign what we put in front of you.
They sign whatever we put in front of them.
Yeah, no kidding. They don't pay attention.
So true.
No, done the right way. Done the only way.
Real estate done right.
Do we have one more question?
We do not.
Oh,
So we have-
so no number
Is there a 12? Let me see.
Yeah, there's a 12.
Number 12.
Make one up.
Yeah, but on the sheet.
Make one up.
I was going to have a 12, and then I'm not sure if I did a 12. Let's see.
Oh,
There is a
there's
12. Oh, man.
There's a 12.
There's a 12. Oh, that's the secondary question. So if we keep the Eagle office just as an office, should we explore the concept elsewhere, or I just don't want the concept at all?
The concept of a coffee wine bar?
Yeah. A concept of a coffee wine
Part of
bar.
it, though, is your location, like you said. Where it's at right now is a really good spot.
That's a good spot for it.
And a better location, I think, would be expensive.
Yeah.
So, we keep the Eagle building as just.
And then we're going to wrap up here unless there's any general questions or anything else you guys want me to talk about.
I've got a question.
Yes.
The development in Eagle that you have.
Okay, so we got, there's two parts to that. Thank you. I meant to put that on here, actually. There's two parts to that. There's the upper 540, there's the lower 120. The lower 120, last month we went before the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they approved the project, which is fantastic. Yeah, it's been a long time in the making. Now, on March 8th, so 3 weeks from now, we go before the Ada County Commissioners to effectively get final plat approval. The county is weird. So in the city of Eagle, city of Meridian, you get your preliminary plat approval, then you get your final plat approval, then you go do your roads and your utilities. In the county, you do your preliminary plat approval, then you get your preliminary plat approved again. So you get your preliminary plat approval with the Planning and Zoning Commissioners, then you get your preliminary plat approved again with the county commissioners, then you do all your construction, and then after your construction is done, then they record the final plats and give you your final plat approval. So effectively, the second preliminary plat approval, which is March 8th, will be our final plat approval. So presuming that that goes as well as the preliminary plat approval did with the Planning and Zoning Commissioners, we'll be breaking ground on that here this spring.
Those are all live, by the way.
I'm sorry?
Those are recorded live, the
Yeah.
county commissioners, so.
They're live streamed, yeah. So you guys want to tune in and watch that, you're definitely welcome to. March 8th. This is, you go to YouTube and search for Ada County Commissioners, and when they go live, you can watch it if you like. The upper 540, we've been working on both projects in parallel. The lower 120, I've had one team on, and the upper 540, I've had another team on. The upper 540 is larger, more complicated, and has required more work and more money. But we are ready to submit our application to the county in February, this month. So by the end of this month, we'll be have our complete application submitted. So we should have our preliminary plat approval hearing with the P&Z commissioners. If it's similar to last time, it could take a year. But based upon what we learned from the first time, we're way better off this time, this round. So I would expect that we'll get our hearing in about 3 months. So, and then with the commissioners hearing 2 months after that. So I would say final plat approval on the upper 540. This is February, so February, March, April, May, June, July, with construction breaking ground on that in the fall. So both of those things are coming along exceptionally well for the moment.
And are we selling the land, or are you going to be recruiting builders?
Initially we're gonna sell some lots, then we're gonna build spec houses, and you guys will get the listings.
Cool. Does the Avamore annexation stuff affect, like if they were annexed, would that take you in as well?
It would not.
It wouldn't, okay.
No, for the city of Eagle requires adjacency. So in order to annex into the city of Eagle, you have to be adjacent to a parcel in the city of Eagle. We are one parcel away from accomplishing that, and that person is willing to annex with us for a fee, 7-figure fee, which under some certain circumstances I'd be willing to pay. The main problem with doing that is most of you are probably familiar with the fact that the annexation of Avamore into Eagle was recently voted down, just like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So the political environment in the city of Eagle is adversarial, kind of like our sign. And so sticking in the county there's just less obstacles and the timeline is shorter. So it will cost me some margin, but from a time value of money perspective, it just makes more sense just to go with the easy route. So yeah, we'll lose 20% of what I could make, but it's 90% easier. So it's just worth it, right? So yeah, coming along nicely. Other questions? I'm happy to answer anything.
On those parcels, so then there's no water source, of course, so.
Well and
it's
septic.
bare land when it's coming, so they don't have to dig wells.
Well and septic. Yeah, it's rural Eagle, so everything around there is well and septic, and that's what we're doing as well.
How deep do the wells come?
300 feet in that area. Yeah, some of them are deeper and some of them are 150 feet. So it just kind of depends. It's get out your witching thing and go to town.
Right.
I really appreciate everybody's partnership. I've enjoyed working with you guys for many years. I look forward to working with you for many more years to come. I am committed to this brokerage, and I am committed to making this brokerage continually successful. I thank you for your feedback today. Please fold your things in half and just leave them there on your table is fine. And as always, call me anytime. I'm happy to help. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Yes.
So when I have the state workshop of our attendance,
Yeah.
we have the